Good morning, everybody. Good to be back. This is Earl Stewart Live, and this is Earl on Cars. We've been doing this for a long time. Welcome back, our regular listeners, and I hope we have a lot of new listeners and viewers. In case you're new, it's an unusual show. We're a show on how not to get ripped off by your car dealer. That's kind of a crude expression, but car dealers for many, many years, let's call it rounded off to 100 years, have been selling cars the same way. About the only retail business anywhere that you have to go in and argue with a salesman to get a good price. I use the word argue. I mean haggle, hassle, argue. It doesn't make any difference. Can you imagine going into Publix or going into Walgreens and arguing with the pharmacist or arguing with the salesperson about what you're going to pay for a loaf of bread? Well, that's what you do when you buy a car. So we've devoted the last 20 years to try to help you avoid that hassle. And with technology moving at warp speed, artificial intelligence and the cloud and the internet, made a huge difference. Search engines. There's a lot of things out there, tools available to us today to educate us, and we can avoid being taken advantage of. Now, remember, the enemy, I hate to say it, but car dealers can be considered the enemy. Car dealers, they have a lot of technology on their side too. So it's still a fight, and that's what this show is. Earl on Cars. It's a call-in talk show. That's the way it started out. Now it's not a radio show just anymore. It's a viewing show. I'm not sure what they call streaming. And we've got streaming on Facebook, facebook.com/Earl on Cars. And we have YouTube streaming. That's our best streamer. You YouTube folks out there, we've got a very good following. Rick Kearney sitting to my right, our certified diagnostic master technician, who will answer anything you can think of about your car, technically, any electronical, mechanical, computerized, you name it, Rick can answer. Rick monitors the YouTube channel. So youtube.com/Earl on Cars. You can post there. You can post on Facebook, or, of course, we do have the old-fashioned telephone. And my wife and partner, Nancy Stewart, to my left, she monitors those phone calls. If you don't have a question right now, you probably don't, but if you are going to watch the show for a few minutes, you might want to jot it down if you're not driving your car or something. The call-in number is 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. Now, you hear that number a lot. We're on for 2 hours from 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. We give the number out a lot because the number is when we can, it's a better dialogue. Audio on telephone, live telephone, if there's such a term. We get your personality, your sense of humor, or maybe you're angry. We get your anger comes across, your confusion, your whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about. I don't think email or texting, computers are never going to replace the human language face-to-face, or whether it's face-to-face or conveyed electronically. The human voice is something that is pretty inbred in us. We understand you better. So please give us a call at 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. We won't keep you waiting. At least we'll do our very best. We have 5 lines coming in to the radio station here in North Palm Beach, Florida. And those 5 lines, we watch carefully to turn them over. So we will always try to get to you over the text. We have a text number I'll give you in just a second, or the YouTube posting or the Facebook posting. We do all those, but we also stop what we're doing. And Nancy Stewart, sitting to my left, she'll tap on the shoulder, me or Rick or Stu Stewart, my son, to interrupt us in a polite way to get to telephone calls. So we won't keep you waiting too long. Now, I said we had a text number. Most of you prefer text, or at least the YouTube or the Facebook postings. The text number is 772 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. And we might not get to the text right away, but we will try to catch up. And by the end of the 2-hour term, we will get to all of our text. And we also have another source of leads or comments or opinions, and that's unique. I don't know anyone that uses this. I don't mean, there are a lot of companies use it. A lot of blue chip companies use it for their feedback from their customers and from their employees. It's called anonymous feedback. If you will write this URL, this website number down, youranonymousfeedback.com. Your, YOURANONYMOUS, feedback, just the way it sounds, FEEDBACK.com. That way we get your message, but we don't know who you are, where you are. You can check a box when you post your inquiry on youranonymousfeedback.com, say, please answer me. But unless you check that box, we can't even answer you on the Your Anonymous feedback. So we will see it, and we will read it on the air, and we will not censor it except for, what I have to censor it for is a radio show, profanity and vulgarity, but the essence of your message will come through. And we encourage your total candor. If you don't like the show, if you don't like car dealers, if you don't like anybody, if you want to, how sometimes you just like to tell it like it is. That's your source of really venting and saying what you want to say. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy Stewart. I think she's ready. She has some last-minute preparation going there, and she's monitoring her laptop computer. So remember, if you call, Nancy sees it, and she tells us. She's a co-founder of the show going back 20 years. I don't know, it might be 22 years, it might be 18 years. I round numbers off on this show sometimes. But anyway, she's in from the get-go. She's a strong advocate for the females in our audience. We're almost 50-50 now of the callers and posters, texters are female. Started the show off, it was an old boys club. Only the guys were on the show. So Nancy Stewart has a special offer for first-time lady callers, and the mic is all yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another exciting show. We love your company. You're a huge part of the show, and we love talking with you, receiving your texts, YouTubes, FaceTime, everything. That's what makes the show. Are you wondering where all those flood cars are headed? Probably right here to our back door. Wow, the rain up in the Northeast has been incredible. Also, we have our mystery shopping report this morning. It's from Porsche. Should be very interesting. And if you haven't picked up your consumer report, there is a lot of information in the August edition, and they really inform and they really test thoroughly, and they suggest whatever vehicle they feel is really safe and the best for you. So pick up that edition of your consumer report. Also, for the ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. We have built a platform here that is incredible because of all of you out there and because you call in on Saturday mornings, and we love making it worth your while. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Sit back, enjoy the show, and stay with us for the next 2 hours. We have a dog coming in again, and the dog's name is Roy. And he...
Roy.
Roy.
Yeah. Roy.
That's my Pittsburgh accent. Roy. Anyway, he's so cute, and you don't want to miss him, and he'll be here just about, I think 9:30, if I'm not mistaken. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, let's get into some texting. If you got any text over there still, I know there's a couple of interesting anonymous feedbacks.
They were interesting this morning for sure, but I'll kick it off with Anne Marie's text. I don't want to disappoint her. Emery says, good morning. Every time I rent a car, I discover something that's really annoying, such as headrests that can't be adjusted, uncomfortable seats, or trying to figure out where the manufacturer hid the release for the door over the gas cap. What are your pet peeves, annoyances when it comes to rental cars?
I share it totally. I think we all do.
Yeah, I've been renting a lot of cars lately, with my kids out of town, and I'm experiencing the opposite. I've been driving Toyotas since I was 16 years old, with a few exceptions like that ill-fated or ill-advised Tesla journey I did. But I like driving non-Toyota. I get to experience other makes of cars because I usually I'm driving around Toyotas. So, like I think we talked about on the show, I rented like Subarus. I discovered that Subarus were great cars just from renting them. I didn't have a bad experience with a BMW SUV, which I was expecting it to be garbage, and it was pretty neat. Had all the high tech stuff. But what Anne-Marie said, like the gas cap stuff. That happens to me every time I get into a Toyota, because even Toyota has different places or means for opening the gas cap. My the 4Runner I got out of didn't have a button; you just pulled open the lid. The new one I'm driving.
Can I
to push a
interrupt
button.
you?
Huh?
I mean, you're a very unusual person. I'm surprised at the answer. There's nothing that drives me more nuts than getting into somebody else's car,
Oh, okay.
a rental car, because you drive one car for a while and you tend to get used to it. You're used to Toyotas,
Well, yeah.
So you put me in a Subaru or a Lincoln or a Mercedes.
Yeah.
By the time I turn the car back in, I finally figured out where everything is.
Well, I take a minute. But the other neat thing, though, by the way, this takes a lot out of that, is most of the cars now will have Apple CarPlay or Android CarPlay. So, all your navigation, all of, your entertainment stuff, you already know it because it's your phone.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing with my Tesla. I had never driven a Tesla before, and I still haven't got used to the fact that the horn is a small black button on a black steering wheel on the top of the steering wheel. Now, how do you hit a horn? I've been driving for too long, all my life, and when the car whips out in front of you, here's if you're streaming this, here's my reaction.
Right.
I reach out for the horn. Well, all I'm doing is hit my steering wheel with a Tesla,
Yeah.
and then for me to hit the horn.
I don't think that's the only car that had stupid horn buttons. I think there's...
There are others.
Yeah, weren't there like domestics that had two buttons on the side of the wheel? I remember seeing like...
But that's Anne Marie's point, I think, is that you have
to learn the car all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if any of you rental car people out there that are in the business, or if you call the show, we'd love to hear from you. 877-960-9960. As usual, Anne Marie, she's our smartest caller, and that is one of her very best questions. I mean, if you're worried about safety, and you have somebody come in off the street, they've been driving a Ford, whatever Expedition their entire life, and then you put them into a Subaru, and you put them on the highway. They don't know where a lot of stuff is, and that's not a safe thing
I'd like
do.
to say steady up the night before, but you don't know what car you're going to get until you get there.
Exactly, yeah.
To
exactly.
your point, it's best to figure all that out. That's the greatest advice before you hit the road.
Well, if you can, because you don't know if you're going to get a Ford or a BMW when you get there.
Sit in that lot, check it out, and make sure you know what you're doing before you get on the road.
That's before you drive off.
How long have we been driving the Tesla? A long time. The horn, very, very much a distraction.
You're about 60% of the way there.
Yeah, and with Earl, his hand covers the yoke. So that little button that's such a distraction, it's not even worth,
So you
thinking
just
about
start
blowing
hitting
horn.
widely at the wheel. It just start swatting at it.
Okay.
Is that what you do, Dad? I'm trying to picture you just
There you
hitting
go.
the wheel.
There you go.
Are you two having fun?
We are.
Okay,
We're
we got
having
a
a
show
ball.
here.
Everybody
Do
out
we have
there is
any other
having fun.
tips?
Hey, listen,
gotta
I'm
get
going to
up early on
interrupt
Saturday
Stu.
morning for
Are
this.
you
I gotta
having
be-
fun
I am.
listening to us right here, Earl on Cars? I hope so. Give us a call and let us know. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, youranonymousfeedback.com.
Rick has a
Rick.
point here.
On that one note of like figuring out things with cars, one of the first things that a lot of people have an issue is what side is the gas filler on?
Yeah.
Here's a little tip.
Arrow.
Look at your gas gauge, and you'll see the little pump there. there's usually a little arrow pointing to the left or right,
Really?
and that tells you which side the filler neck is on. Now,
I
it
know,
used to be
I've never seen that. I would bet you that's not true, but I know you're
not,
right.
not on your Tesla.
Oh,
But here's another one. A lot of manufacturers before they actually started putting that little arrow to tell you
then
that
you
it was
should
on the
preface
left or
your
right.
remarks by saying on some cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, almost all of them now have it,
Is there
except
an
the
arrow?
electric cars.
Is there an arrow that points to what side his charging port's on?
That can be, but when they had that little fuel pump symbol, it was what side the hose was on, very subtle. But if the hose was on the left, the filler neck was on the left.
Well, I did-
if it was reversed,
well, now
it was
that
on
you
the right.
told people,
and that
they
was
know
stupid.
that, but why
Now they
not-
put the arrow.
Why don't the manufacturers say that when they sell you the car? The
Yeah.
dealer tell you that. The dealers don't know it.
I don't know. Why do you, there's an iPhone app out now that you can scan your dashboard, or I'm sorry, iPhone will be able to interpret the symbols on your dashboard by shooting your camera at it.
Yep.
And the next update.
All the time that's saved. Can you imagine?
have any calls?
Cursing and screaming and hollering. 877-960-9960. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, you can text us. I'm going to hop right on the phone calls right now. Interrupt Stu for a minute. We have Bob who's holding. Hang on a minute, Bob. Doug will get right with you. And Elsa, don't go anywhere. Good morning, Bob. Bob's calling us from Lake Park.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome.
How you doing today? Well, it seems to have been another Takata airbag fatality, the first ever for the passenger side.
Huh.
And this was in a 20-year-old Ram truck, I believe. And so I remember years ago, you used to tell people to drive their cars till the wheels fall off. Now people are driving their cars for so long, they could get killed from these airbags.
Yeah, that's a sad comment. We really, as you probably remember, pushed and pushed and pushed and raised all kinds of hell about the fact that these Takata airbags were not being recalled, and when they were recalled, the people were ignoring it. It's a sad fact of life that people don't bring the cars back in. The manufacturers, some of them do a good job of trying to notify the owners. Some of them do a terrible job, but recalls are just. It got so bad, and the more we screamed about it, the less anybody cared, and total apathy on the part of the owners to bring the cars in to get them fixed.
Right. I wanted to ask Stu. They have specially designed rail cars to ship automobiles, and I understand there's a shortage. I understand General Motors has 70,000 vehicles that are built that are sitting up in Detroit area that can't be shipped.
Hadn't heard that.
Yeah, and I also heard that the Hummer, because of the weight of the Hummer, I guess that new Hummer
The electric,
weighs around 9,000 pounds,
Oh, my God.
and they can only put it on the bottom rail of the rail car.
Wow.
So it's also creating a logistics nightmare.
Oh, wow. I know that there's a lot of Toyota uses a lot of rail shipping within the United States to their distribution centers. Haven't heard of any any issues with that. Now, interestingly, dealers and manufacturers as cars have changed do have to upgrade. Like for example, in the shop, like as we've gotten bigger trucks, we had to get special lifts. And then also, I think for some of the electric cars, that's going to be another consideration with the batteries.
Yeah, the BZ4X has its own special
Adapter.
system for
Yeah, to get on
lifting it.
That's not as
I-
exciting as trains, but
I saw something else. The inflation numbers came out this week, and they itemized it, and the number one item
used cars.
that has given up the most. No, it wasn't actually used cars, but it was car repair. The
Yeah.
cost of getting your car repaired is astronomical. It's going up crazy.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had any suggestions how someone might navigate, circumvent getting killed when they want to get there, when they have an issue with their car.
Yeah.
Bob, I think what you're seeing partly in that phenomenon is that there's so little to have to repair or maintain on a car now that car dealers, I mean, they were required by the manufacturers for all these years, and probably even now to a large extent, to build very large, very expensive service departments with a lot of very expensive auto lifts, very expensive diagnostic equipment and machinery, training. Car dealers invest more money in their service department, and I can include parts probably in that because they have a lot of money tied up in parts. So the manufacturers have required the dealers to come up with these big, high-cost overhead departments, or else they won't let you have a franchise. Now,
Well, the average time that a person is holding on to their car now is also, I think I saw, is somewhere around 12 years.
yeah, that's right.
So I don't care how good they build the car.
No,
12 years, things are going to go.
Yeah, Bob, my point is this. The car is built well, and so the way the dealer has to make money is to charge more for what little he does. And I think the question is, how can you avoid this issue? Is just be sure you don't have anything done to the car that doesn't need to be done. Stick with the owner's manual recommendation on maintenance. It's even if you bought the car 10 years ago, the maintenance is far less than it was if you bought the car 20 years ago. And if you bought the car 5 years ago, you have virtually no maintenance. It's just almost nominal. And if you miss maintenance, I hate to say this, Rick sitting here will be angry at this, but if you miss maintenance, it's no big deal. I mean,
your car's not going to blow up.
Yeah, the car's not going to blow up. So when you go into a car dealer service department, picture yourself driving into a den of wolves, very hungry, because they don't have anything to do. And the service salespeople are waiting for you. They get paid on commission. And here comes this car that doesn't have very many problems. So guess what? They got to convince you your car does have problems. And that's where you pay a whole lot of money. So be careful, shop and compare prices, get a second opinion. Don't go into the first independent repair shop or car dealership and take their word for what they say you have to have done if it's not on the owner's manual. If the manufacturer didn't recommend it, don't have it done.
Bob, what kind of car do you drive?
I have a question for Rick. My TPMS battery in one of my tires went dead. The car's a little over 8.5 years old, and I'm going to go buy the part. What is it going to run me, generally speaking?
Rick, before you answer that, I just want to alert, we have 4 callers on the line now.
Okay.
So please be patient. We're going to answer this question for Bob, and we'll be right with you. Go ahead, Rick.
What type of car is it, Bob?
It's a Mustang. I got to pull off. I guess the tire has to come off, and I'm going to buy the part. What are they going to whack me for to take the tire off, replace the TPMS, and I guess they would reprogram it. Maybe it'll relearn itself. I'm not quite sure. Sometimes they do.
Well, most of them do need to be programmed. Some will learn it by themselves. At our dealership, the total cost on that would be about $200 to $250.
Without the part?
That's part included.
The part? Yeah, if I go buy the part and I bring it somewhere.
Well, that's part and labor at our shop. If you came in and needed one replaced, that's about $250.
Bob, thanks a lot for the call. We got 5 callers now, so please call again. You're a great caller. We'll talk to you next week.
We
hopefully.
enjoyed talking to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you. You too, Bob. 877-960-9960. Give us a text at 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Doug, who's calling us from Boca. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're having a great day.
We are.
I was just calling to tell briefly about my experience at a dealership. Won't mention the name, but it was kind of because I'm friends with the dealership's son, and so I wanted a car. Not even going to mention the car, but it's a sought-after car, and I think I talked to you about it last show. But
yes,
what happened the final day I went in there, and they agreed to a price which I believe was MSRP, and then they told me they couldn't do it. That instead that they were going to give me a price of instead of $44,000, $48,000. And then they made it $49,000. So I just very nicely said my goodbyes.
Well, I'm really sorry, Doug. I know exactly what deal you're talking about, and I'll respect your request not to mention it, and I know why. And but again, it's just a sad statement on the culture that car dealers live by today, and honesty and transparency is lacking. So I'm sorry you had that bad experience, but
And the final thing was I did get a call from the son, and he apologized to me yesterday.
You got the report from the sales manager.
Very good.
yeah, well,
Very good.
apologies. It's okay to apologize, but
It's a step in the right direction.
That's like when you rob a bank and then you call up and apologize. I mean, the crime's been committed. So, but nice to have the apology, though. I understand.
What was the car?
No.
Don't tell us the deal. I just want to know the car. I forgot.
It'll give it away if he tells the car. You were here last week.
I can't remember the car though. I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was a Toyota Corolla GR. Circuit.
Oh, that's right.
But- So I kind of like given up on that. I'm just going to keep my car for now, and
Good choice.
Yeah.
I don't want to obsess over cars. It's like,
Doug,
Exactly.
we got 5
Keeping
callers
your
here. We're
car
going to have
right
to
now
jump
is a
off.
great idea.
Thanks very much for letting us know. We appreciate it.
Give us a call again,
okay,
Doug.
love you guys.
Ladies,
Thank
Love you too.
thank you. Ladies, do you have a purchasing or servicing experience you'd like to share? Give us a call, toll free. You can win yourself $50 this morning. The first 2 new lady callers, 877-960-9960. And also, other women are listening, can learn from your experience. So that's an incentive right there. We're going to go to Boynton Beach, where Elsa's holding, and she is a first-time caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
I have
You just won yourself $50. If you stay on the line when we're finished, you can give Jeremy in our control room your contact information, and I'll get that check out to you.
You mean a real check, real money, not 50 off a new car?
It's 50 Earl bucks.
What can we do for you this morning?
Okay, I bought a used car for the first time in 40 years. It was a 20 Toyota Corolla, and I cannot get. It smells. Somebody must have had it outside, and it smells like cat stuff in there. It's just like an animal smell, and not always, but sometimes it does, and it's driving me crazy. And I don't know what to do to get that out. I sprayed, and I can't get it out. And also, it's very slow. When I have a stoplight to start, I have to really push down on the pedal. And the dealer says, "Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine, But I don't like it, so I don't know what to do about it. Except
Right.
come out to you.
The acceleration issue is something I'd have to check onto, check with the scan tool, see if there's anything odd going on there.
Yeah.
As for the odor, it's just kind of a grasping at straws. You might try to get a container of damp rid and put that in the car. Sometimes if there's moisture building up in certain areas, that can kind of bring those odors out. And damp rid is designed to absorb the moisture from the air. So just leaving that, set it in the back seat and just let it sit there with all the windows up on a good sunny day, and that may help reduce a lot of that for you.
Are you
Yeah.
familiar with the damp rid product?
Oh, I've used it, yeah. Yeah,
I
have
thought
it all
so.
the time.
We all have, haven't we? But we just don't realize how effective it can be. And I've put it in my car, and that's my go-to product. It could possibly help.
Yeah, it's just a stench for, like cat pee.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it is, and it's driving me crazy. And the car's in the garage by me, but the guy must have had it outside, and maybe an animal got in there. You never know.
Absolutely.
It was like a year old when I got it and had 8,000 miles on it. So, but that was in 2020 when the cars weren't that plentiful, and they talked me into
Yeah.
it while I was at the service.
Well, whether you get the hanging bag or you get the bucket or whatever it is of the damp rid, I can guarantee you it's going to make an impact on your problem. Elsa, we have so many calls backed up. Do you have any other
Okay.
questions?
No, that's fine right now. I'm happy that you gave me that hint on the damp rid. I've never done it because it smells. I have to find one that doesn't smell.
Yeah.
The perfume in it. So, okay.
Yeah, in that closed-in area, it should be very effective. Thank you for calling. Please give Jeremy
Thank you.
your contact information, and I'll get that check out to you.
Well, thank you very much.
Have a wonderful weekend. We are going to go to Mary in Boynton Beach, and Mary has called before. Welcome again, Mary.
Hi. Thanks so much for your show. It's so valuable, especially for women.
Thank you.
I'm from Pompano Beach on A1A, but I'm up in Westchester County for a few months with family. And one of my objectives coming up here, a new car, a new Subaru, and avoid the outrageous junk fees in Florida. I mean, in New York State, the law states that a dealer cannot charge more than $175 for any fees. That's the law in New York State.
That's great.
They have good consumer protections.
What about add-on equipment?
They have addendums with add-on equipment,
Right. Okay.
and that's one of my questions. One of the questions is, I'm going to buy a Subaru Forester. They have them in a lot of the dealerships. I've sent emails and they've been texting me. But right now, the Subaru Forester, the new 2024, is going to come out in a couple of months. They said early winter. So now they're saying if I want the car that I get a car that I really want, I would really have to order it, and that would be they claim 3 months, but that would be kind of hitting the time of a new 2024. So my first question is it worth it to do that? I mean, should they? Costco's giving me a $1,500 discount, and if you're an executive member, you get at your closing, when you get the car, a certificate for 50% off up to $200. So you can buy $400 more accessories for half price on the lot if I took one like that.
Well, now I'm not quite sure how manufacturers are going to be handling this, especially with Subaru, as far as incentives. Typically, in like normal times, without this, this crazy, inventory thing and all the crazy markups and the prices of cars, you would start seeing dealer incentives for the 2023s. But at the end of the day, it usually winds up being pretty close to the amount that you would, the advantage you would get by getting a year newer car. Like, Earl's talked about on the show quite a lot. Even though the 2024 car or 2023 car came out in 2024, I might be getting it wrong, but the model of the year might come out then a different calendar year. And when you go to trade in the car or sell it, having a newer car is going to be more valuable.
I agree.
But right now, it remains to be seen what's happening. We don't have any.
Yeah, Mary, all bets are off. The
yeah.
manufacturers today, what you said was very true 3 years ago, pre-COVID and pre-supply chain interruption. And today, it's just a matter of how many cars do we have to sell and how much can we get. And manufacturers are really skimping on rebates, incentives.
Toyota has no cash incentives.
Yeah,
so Subaru probably doesn't.
It's a seller's market, and Subaru's a great car. You did a really smart thing by going to New York State to buy it, where they cap the dealer fee at $175. That saves you hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands of dollars in South Florida. Yeah. And I would, I'd get 2 or 3 bids from 2 or 3 other New York Subaru dealers and go with the lowest price.
On the 24, on the newer.
On the 24, absolutely, on the 24. Yeah, there's 5 years from now, when you decide to trade that in, nobody's going to know whether you bought that in late 2023 or late 2024. They just see the year, make that you bought, and that is the way the books and the auctions and the buyers and sellers look at it. A 2024 is worth a lot more money than a 2023, so take the 2024 and you got a good deal on it.
Okay. And the other thing I wanted to ask was, they've got a lot of the 2023s on the lot, okay? And a lot of them have accessories and options that I don't want. How flexible in general are dealers when they want to get something off the lot? as far as, coming down in price. If I say, look, I really don't want $600 worth of interior
Not often.
LED
Not often. It can be done. Sometimes that's put there to play with. But like Earl said, in this climate, they can get it. It's like he said, it's a seller's market. So you can say, well, I'm not paying for $700 worth of nitrogen, and they can say, okay, because they know that they're likely going to sell $700 of nitrogen on that car to another customer. Once they start thinking that the customers are drying up and don't want to pay it, then you're going to see more wiggle room appearing. But right now, there's not much, and probably not with Subaru dealers. We're only seeing it on mystery shopping reports on some domestic dealers like GM, like GM and GMC and things like that.
Mary, excuse me, Stu. I just want to let you know I have several calls backed up, and I want to commend you. You sound like as if that you're a very educated consumer, and like everyone just said here, those incentives that we, once had available to us, they're few and far between, if any at all. So you going home and purchasing a vehicle is another great move that you made. Thank you so much for your call, Mary.
Thank you. I'm an educated consumer because of you. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
great, you guys.
Thank you, Mary. Spread the word for the ladies. We're going to go to Lance, who's calling us from Tennessee, and Lance has become a regular caller. Good morning, Lance.
Oh,
Yo.
I've been away for a few weeks. I'd just like to say those charges of chicken stealing are serious and wrong and politically motivated.
Well, Earl can't talk about that unless we have our lawyer on the show, so we got to steer the conversation back to cars.
We didn't steal the chickens; they followed us.
Okay, Earl has legal counsel set up for you, and we have a GoFundMe setting up for you and the rest of your crew.
There you go.
But I did, while I was awaiting those charges, I did come up with a little tune.
Okay.
Okay.
If you want to buy, sell, or lease, call in and listen to Earl Stewart on Cars to keep from getting fleeced.
Bravo.
Are you an entertainer? What do you do for a living?
He's in Nashville. He plays at the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, I'd just like to say, and I know you're busy this morning, your show is very entertaining, and I always like to add a little levity to it.
You do.
And
we
you do
appreciate
indeed.
You're getting us more listeners.
But we do believe that Earl Stewart Day is on track, even though these charges, are untrue and politically motivated.
And the chickens were returned, so let's.
Well, some of them ended up Colonel Sanders style.
That's not our responsibility.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day. Good show.
Thanks, Lance.
Thank you, Lance.
Thanks, Lance. Keep calling us. We love hearing from you. You're a great entertainer. We are going to go to Dominic, who's calling us from Coral Springs. Welcome, Dominic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling about my wife's car. She said I don't want to call, not because she's embarrassed or anything. She doesn't. My daughter had already called a couple of months ago and took part in near $50, and she was exceedingly happy with the information that she got. And my wife just said, "You just called because I don't want to call." So I assume that this is a woman's call.
Okay.
The car is peeling paint. It's a 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe.
Delaminating.
Ongoing problem.
So the first time we brought it in, it was half the car. They took care of it, and we asked for it was spare for a week, and we said, do you have a rental car? They said, no, we don't do that. You're just in here. We'll take care of the paint for you. After about a month, then the rest of the car started delaminating, and now they want it for 2 weeks. And we asked again, you keep in the car for 2 weeks. Do you have a program that we can rent the car? Because our insurance company won't include rental unless it's an accident. So I heard last week that you said that when recalls are called in, that the dealer builds in a rental car fee because the manufacturer is paying for the corrections. So I'm wondering, is there a way to get a car for a couple of weeks while this car is going to be in again for painting?
Dominic, if it's a factory recall, and it sounds like Hyundai is stepping up to the plate to take care of that. Usually they do provide vehicles. Can't speak directly for Hyundai, but most other manufacturers do. I suggest that you call the manufacturer directly if the dealer refuses to give you a loaner. Call the manufacturer directly and say, I'm going to have my Hyundai tied up for 2 weeks. This is the second time I had to bring it in to fix the delaminating paint, which is a defect that you've acknowledged. I believe you should furnish me with a loaner car. I think they will do that. Just because the dealer doesn't have a car available, you should be able to go to Enterprise or a rental company, and then Hyundai should reimburse you for that charge.
Yeah, because we're without the car because they're fixing it, the problem, for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. That's a long time, and the rental car is pretty expensive. So I think a call to Hyundai 800 number. Go to the website Hyundai.com, and you'll see a number 800 number, and explain. Have all your numbers ready, the VIN number on your Hyundai, the name of the dealer, and the issue. And after I talk to them, I would confirm with an email, put it in writing. But I think you will get a car if you go that route.
Okay, appreciate the information.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you for the call.
Give us a call again.
Thank you.
One more time to the ladies out there, if you'd care to give us a call and share your car purchasing experience, your servicing, give us a call, 877-960-9960, and 877-960-9960. I have $50 for one more new female caller. And by giving us a call, you not only win yourself $50, but you can share your experience, and it really helps other female listeners, and guess what? Male listeners. So give us a call, 877-960-9960.
And there is there's a class action case against Hyundai for the peeling paint right now. So I'm not sure if this is Hyundai reacting like one of those special programs like we talked about, like Toyota did with the peeling paint, or if this is something just getting off the ground. So if you're still listening, that might be something you could consider getting in on, or waiting for the results of that, because it might wind up being they might be compelled by the court to provide a fix.
Did you have a name of an attorney or a number?
No, this was just national news.
Dominic, if you're still listening, I'd Google that Hyundai delamination
or just peeling paint.
Class
Nothing came
action.
up. No, I guess nobody else calls it delamination. Just dealers.
Yeah.
It's peeling paint.
Peeling paint,
Yeah.
class action suit Hyundai. Get the name of the law firm with the class action, and put your hat in the throw your name in the hat and get on that class action. Doesn't cost you anything. You fill out a few papers, and if they're successful, then you get a little chunk of change.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a great idea. We are going to go to Trish, who's giving us a call from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're well, thank you. Welcome back.
All right. No problem. This is my second time calling. I called like a year and a half ago, talked to you, and I did appreciate that gas money the last time. That helped a lot.
Thank you.
What I do have a question once again, it's about the same issue. I know you don't remember, but I still have the same vehicle, Volkswagen, that I bought from the dealership up the road. And the problem I have is I tried to trade it in because I'm getting a 29.5% APR. It's been over 3 years in October, and I'm still at the $15,000 mark that I owe originally when I did buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And every place I go, they keep saying that I'm upside down in the, what do you call it, in the paying the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You owe more than what your car's worth.
Right now they valued it at $7,000.
Trish, let me ask you a question. Did you you finance that car through the dealer? Apparently, 29% is extremely high annual percentage rate, and um, uh, maybe it can't be done. But if there was any way that you could refinance that, even with today's interest rates being up considerably, 29% is off the chart in terms of an expense, and you'll never be able to build any equity in that at that kind of an interest rate. Do you have a bank or a credit union, or do you know any bankers anywhere that you could talk to about refinancing that at a lower rate than 29%?
I tried to do it with my bank, Bank of America, and they denied me.
I see.
And that's the crazy part. Even though I've been paying on time and it's been in the green, they just don't. They're like, it's too much.
Yeah,
and they can't do it.
I'd shop around to some other lenders, and if you shop around, you know there are even credit unions you can join, even though you don't have one with your employer. You can pay a small annual fee and take advantage of credit union financing, which is typically lower than banks. But I would Bank America isn't going to work for you. Try a couple other local banks. And if you've been paying on time, that's really in your favor. And even if you could knock it down to 15% instead of 29%, 29% is about as high. I think that's a legal limit that they can charge. So hopefully you could get something better. And just give that a try. Call us back next week and let us know how you did.
Is it a possibility that I can put it in my daughter's name? Do you think somebody would do that for me, like the banks or something?
I think as far as the credit bureau is concerned, they know that's in your name now, and they're going to see anyone doing a check will see that and to put it in your daughter's name, you'd have to have the approval of the lender, and that would be the problem. So you'd have to they'd have to approve her credit for the car. And I don't know that she would be approved. If she would, and she would cooperate with you, then that would certainly get it out of your name.
Yeah, because her credit is better than mine.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. It's a tough position to be in. And for you folks listening out there, be careful. You finance with a dealer, and they're going to charge you as much interest as possible, not necessarily reflecting your credit, just reflecting how much they can get away with. A lot of times, dealers are financing cars. Remember, they get a piece of the action. When they finance a car at 10% instead of 8%, they get a kickback from the lender for that extra they charge you. They have a certain amount that the lender charges the dealer, and then they mark it up. In this case here, they marked it up all the way to 29%, and that's what they're charging Trish. So that dealer made a huge amount of money by financing the car, and unfortunately, you can see what's happened to Trish. She's stuck with the car because she can't build any equity, and she can't trade out of it. So it's a vicious cycle, and I'm very, very sorry that you're in that position, Trish, but try some other lenders, and please call us back next week and let us know how you did.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trish. Good luck with that. We look forward to hearing from you. We're going to go to Patricia, who's calling from Stewart, and she's a first-time caller. Good morning, Patricia.
How are you?
We're well, thank you. You won yourself $50 this morning for being the second caller, and if you stay on the line when we're finished talking, you can give Jeremy in our control room your information, your contact information, and I'll get that check out to you Monday morning.
Oh, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. What can we do for you?
I am usually not in my car listening to the radio on Saturday mornings, but I'm going somewhere, so I tuned into your show. What a cool show. And when I got on, the lady you were talking to someone, I did not catch the whole conversation, but there was a conversation about damp rid.
Yes.
And I know your show is about cars, so is she wanting to use something like damp rid in her car?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was going to try to help with that, but I don't know that you could use this in your car. I have a huge intolerance to, I'm very, very sensitive to chemical scents, to chemicals at all. So I have to be really careful. I use only like essential oils and things like that, or unscented things.
Uh-huh.
And I actually needed something like damp rid for my house. So I found some at Walgreens, has a big, huge thing of it, unscented. They have some scented, but they have one that's unscented. And Dollar Tree has the little ones that are unscented. The only thing is they do get liquid in them. So if they got knocked over, like with a car moving, I don't know that would work.
Yeah.
But I would think you could find them. You know, if you look like on Amazon or somewhere like that, I bet.
Yeah, you can pick.
You could find those.
You can pick the non-scented up anywhere. You know, they're just as many of them on the shelf, or even at Amazon. And unfortunately, Amazon made a mistake and sent me the unscented. I usually get the lavender. But that is a great idea, Patricia. Great idea. I'm really glad that you called, and I hope that the caller is listening to your advice. I dropped the ball on that one. I forgot the unscented do work.
Yeah. And then also the gentleman that was asking about a rental car, I actually was one of those with the peeling paint on a Toyota Camry, and they did provide me with a rental car. So they absolutely should. You were right on that. They absolutely should. There's no way, if it's their fault about the paint, that he should be left without a car.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Definitely. Pursuing that, and the end result is it will be taken care of. There was so much of that going on, at a time that there were a lot of people out, right, Rick? I mean, there was lawsuits everywhere. Paint was just peeling on the hood.
It seems like every manufacturer has had issues with that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Patricia, thank you so much for calling and helping me build this platform here for the ladies. Please spread the word and let the ladies know that Earl on Cars, that we are building a platform, and we give out $50 for the first 2 new lady callers.
I will. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to Paul, and Paul's calling us from Denver. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. Hey, first-time caller from Denver.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I actually just started following your YouTube about 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
The homeless guy or something like that I had found out about. You came across your stuff. So thank you for what you do and how you run your dealership. I chimed in when I had heard just the tail end. I think it was a Mary who just called. She was mentioning a Subaru and getting it possibly through the Costco program and a 23 versus a 24. And I figured I'd call in and let people know that anybody who's interested in a new Subaru can buy them through the VIP program. You don't have to be a VIP in commonly thought terminology, but a VIP program they have. I first came to Subaru in 2019, first time I ever owned one, and I'm an old guy. And now my whole family owns new Subarus. I've had a 2019 Ascent. I traded it in for a 23 Ascent. My wife just bought a new 22 Outback, and my son has an slightly older WRX. But in any case, a VIP program allowed me to buy the 22 Outback at 2% below dealer invoice. Now, with no haggling, no nothing, just 2% below dealer invoice. Now, they changed that so that the VIP program is now at dealer invoice. So I bought my 23 at dealer invoice, and I chose a dealership, a participating dealership, with no dealer fees for both of those.
Good for you. Wow.
So I paid 0 dealer fees. I got the exact car I wanted, and I paid for one of them 2% below dealer invoice and one of them at dealer invoice. And I didn't have to have any add-ons. Like I said, no dealer fees. I got exactly what I wanted, and they typically take very consistently 2.5 months to get to you from the time that you order. Now, the partnerships, the VIP program, you have to donate $500 to a certain a group of nonprofits.
I'm reading about this
And
now, yeah.
Right. Now, I had read on one of the forums that one of them that I had used changed. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't followed up on it. But if you go to the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, you can donate the $500. You get a certificate, a VIP certificate, within a couple of days, 2-3 days. And then it goes to the participating dealer, which you have to kind of investigate ahead of time to make sure they'll be willing to sell you the particular model car through the VIP program. Most participate. And then the certificate goes to them, and then you just decide what car you want. End of story. And 2.5 months later, it shows up. It's real simple.
Yeah, this is really cool.
It's an amazing program. And by the way, I mean, I never envisioned myself in a Subaru, but I mean, and now my family's driving, 3 of them.
They won me over.
And they now not all dealerships will do no dealer fees. I called around to 5 different dealerships in my area, and only one of them did no dealer fees. The others wanted $500, $750, whatever it was. Yeah, okay, that's your choice. Bye. Right. And I went to the one because the price itself wasn't going to be of the vehicle was non-negotiable at that point. I was getting it as dealer invoice, so it was a straight pass through for them. They make a fixed amount of money on it.
They got all sorts of partnerships. There's an International Mountain Bicycling Association. There's some camping stuff that was really cool. Leave No Trace, which I'm familiar with through camping. ASPCA.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't know this. Paul, thank you very much. Yeah. I don't think Stu did either.
I didn't.
And we both Googled it. The Subaru VIP program. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. And am I correct? Did you say, Paul, that they give you a discount off of MSRP? That there's
no. Yeah, currently, it is dealer invoice, so they're making their holdback. Wow! So you make a donation of $500 to the
ASPCA,
well, to the associated program they're with. So if it's either ASPCA or Leave No Trace or any other program. And so when you do that, then you have, like Paul said, you got to find a good dealer that's not going to charge the extras. But when you do, you're getting it for invoice plus tax and tag.
Well, that's
now
amazing.
I should mention the ASPCA program, which is the one that I had personally donated to twice. Mm-hmm. I participated in the VIP program. And by the way, if you buy 2 cars, which is what I did in 1 year, because I upgraded to the 23 and my wife got the 22 Outback, that one donation of $500 worked for that certificate to allow me to buy both cars at dealer invoice.
Wow.
All right, now the ASPCA, which is the one I donated, someone had just posted this week that they changed it so you had to have a waiting time. I don't know if it's true. I think they misconstrued it, but you have to check on that.
Okay.
Call ASPCA directly. Now they also have a financing program, as a captivated financing program with Chase. Now, if you have really good credit, as I have and my wife has, one car, the Outback at the time, they had a 1.9% financing. And now, let's see, my 23, they upped it because all the feds upped their rates to 3.9. So, and I don't know what it is currently, but I think it's still at 3.9.
Paul, how did you find out about this? When did you first become aware of the Subaru VIP program?
Probably in 21.
Did the dealer advise you this? Because I'm amazed.
No. I got on the Ascent forum because I was interested in Ascent, Subaru Ascent, which is their 3-row SUV.
Yeah.
Ascent forum in 2018 when I was interested in when I was looking to get a car. We had like 22-year-old cars at the time. And I said, it's now or never. We got to do something. They're going to go. So I started investigating, and I bought my 2019 through a broker. And then after I got my 2019 Ascent, shortly thereafter, I learned about the VIP program through the forum.
Wow.
And then I've been very, very active with the forum and online. That's the only social media I do, really. And and it goes on from there. So it's been a phenomenal savings. I mean, I bought a limited. I saved like $5,000.
Paul, I gotta thank you. That's the most valuable information we've received on this show in a long time. Listen, we've got 5 callers backed up here, and I would appreciate it very much if you could call back in next week, because you obviously are one of the most educated, informed consumers. We had no idea about that. And anybody out there thinking about a Subaru, I hope you are listening, because you got to go to the VIP Subaru program and you got to join up.
Save
and
thousands.
You get a deal that you can't believe. Paul, thanks.
Yeah.
Call us back next week, would you please?
Paul, you just educated so many listeners this morning with this valuable information. We can't thank you enough. We are going to go to Sam, who's been holding from New York. Good morning, Sam.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
We're well, thank you.
So my question was that I bought a 2020 BMW motorcycle, like a demo, like last month, and I got MSRP was like 28 and change, and I got it for 18. But the dealer charged me prep fee and freight fee, which was included. But when I got the contract, the freight fee and like let's say my selling price was 18,300. He added into one line and the prep fee in the different line. So is that something normal? Because I spoke to the dealer.
Well, it's motorcycles come under the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's not normal.
And no, it's not normal.
So when I spoke to the manager, and he's like, "Listen, we'll take care of you when you buy something from us." And I'm like, "No, just give me the refund because I'm not interested in it." And I called the BMW customer service like 100 times, and they were not doing it. And the last choice is like, I don't want to fight with the dealership about the freight and the prep fee. And I paid through American Express like $600 on the credit card, and everything else I financed. But I think that was a double dipping.
Yeah,
call the New York Department of Motor Vehicles, and they operate motorcycle sellers just like car sellers operate with a license. From them.
Carl, I bought it from Massachusetts, BMW of Cambridge.
Okay.
So Massachusetts,
I
live in New York.
Department of Motor Vehicles. And report that. They probably have a written complaint form, but they have tremendous power over dealers, motorcycle dealers and car dealers. Department of Motor Vehicles can take away the license.
Right, I had the FTC and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
So that's
and I spoke to them. I spoke to the GM. So the GM is like, "Oh, I cannot do anything, but like if you buy something else, I'll do it." So I'm like, "Yeah, if I buy the warranty, if the warranty costs you $3,000, you're going to charge me $4,000 and then give me a discount."
No,
and I was like, "No, I'm not going to buy it from me."
No, that's garbage. The destination is built into the price. They don't get to add it back in. And I don't know. You could call back and let them know that they did something illegal and say you're not going to go away.
I did. I did. And you know what? I found that from. I called BMW and I told BMW like I'm a cop, and if I'm selling drugs on the side, and if I never get caught, and one time somebody complains about me, that's how I'm complaining about the dealership. Like they probably charging it for a long time, and not getting caught, but I'm the one who's doing. And when I signed the contract, they're like, "Oh, we'll take care of it when you pick up the bike." And then at the end, they give me $100 American Express gift card from $1,100. So like they charge me $1,000, and I'm like, bro. So I was thinking to call the American Express. I was like, you know what? They can keep half of the money.
Challenge the
$600. They can. Yeah, they can keep the half money. Like I paid $1,100, they gave me $100. I was like, they can keep $300, and I'll take the $600 back.
Call us back next week and let us know how that went. We've got 4 callers holding, and we'd love to know. I think the DMV is your answer. Please call us back next week and let us know.
And rip them on some reviews.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. Please give us a call. We're going to go to Marty, who calls us often, and he's a regular caller. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. I got a question for Rick, and then I got something I just got to ask Earl and Stu. For Rick, my question is, every so often on my Camry, the parking brake, the electronic brake, I guess you'd call it, sticks. So I have to push the button down, and it releases it, and I go on my way. Is there anything that can be done to keep that from happening, or should I just press the button and forget about it?
Assuming you've got a probably 2 or 3 year old Camry, since the electronic parking brake is relatively new, make sure that you're getting make sure you're getting the door closed and your foot on the brake nice and firm, and give it a second before you shift it out of park. Sometimes the sensors need to see all those things occurring before it will release that electric parking brake. It's one of the new innovations is having that automatically applying, and it's connected directly to the door. So if the door is still open, even just if you've just closed it when you're trying to shift the car, it will not release that parking brake. It's part of their safety features.
And your foot on the brake too.
Yeah, you definitely have your foot on the brake, but because as an auto mechanic, when I'm pulling a car onto the lift, I open the door so I can lean out and see where the tires are, and I've had to get used to actually reaching back and holding the pin switch in, because otherwise the car will just slap on those brakes while I'm trying to drive on the lift. It's crazy, but it's because so many people are having issues that they literally
if I open my door
getting out of the car while the car is still in gear, and the car would drive away. So
if I try to jump out of my car while I'm rolling up in my driveway, the car's going to slam on the brakes.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to try
All
that
right,
today.
I'll check that out. Now I got a question for Rick and Stu. When people call you up and say they bought a car for less than invoice, if every dealership sold anything for less than invoice, the dealerships would be closed. I don't think people realize that.
Actually, Marty, that's not the truth. The factor is, before COVID, before the supply chain issue and the rest of it,
most
cars were sold below invoice. And,
but when you say invoice, to me, invoice is what you pay.
Well, we don't really pay that. We send Toyota that money, then they kick back a bunch of money to us, and that's the whole.
It's semantics, Marty, because it's you're thinking about true cost, like what we actually pay, and when a dealer says invoice, he's probably talking about a few $1,000s.
So you stumbled on the greatest conspiracy out there, and the legislators and the enforcers and the attorney generals, they don't do anything, but. All the manufacturers, all the auto manufacturers have an invoice. Now, everybody knows, you go in Webster's, you look at the dictionary, an invoice is what someone charges you for something. Now, if someone sends you an invoice for $20,000 and then kicks back $5,000 to you, and the dealers are colluding to make the buyer, the public, the car buyers, think that the invoice is really what the dealer pays. And so dealers will use this as a ruse when you come in to buy a car. Say, look, here's my invoice. I'll sell you this car for $500 over the invoice, which you're telling me you're going to sell me the car and you're only going to make $500. Meanwhile, there's $3,000 packed into the invoice that the manufacturer kicks back to the dealer, and so he makes $3,500. You think he made $500. So you lawyers out there, looking for a class action suit, there's a doozy. You can sue every auto manufacturer and every dealer in the United States for a conspiracy to defraud the car buyers.
Yeah, well, I guess that was my point, that you're not selling the car, not you personally, but any dealership is not selling the car for what it truly costs them.
That's exactly right.
And to me, I'm sure a lot of people don't realize that when they say
most people don't. No.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say it doesn't happen once in a while. I mean, we've gone below net cost and taken hard losers
I know
before.
at the end of the month and all that stuff, maybe to sell one car, you made yourself $300,000 extra. Right. It's worth it to sell that one car.
Yeah, exactly. But, and all of this is moot now because no one's playing around invoice. Even domestic manufacturers aren't right now.
Right. All right. Very good.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Marty.
good week.
Okay. Talk to you next week.
Always nice to hear from you, Marty. We're going to go to Frank in Jupiter Farms. Good morning, Frank.
Hey, Frank, you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nancy. We actually had the pleasure. I was in the area a couple of days ago, and we just stopped by to stroll around. And there we saw in the showroom Earl Stewart speaking to a gentleman in front of a camera, I guess giving an interview. And I go, wow, what a temptation to walk right behind Earl like they do on TV and have my picture waving at whoever the cameraman was. And I thought, my better discretion, I won't do that because I don't want you to have to redo the whole video for me. And we went over and had one of our complimentary coffees. And as we were leaving, Anne-Marie, my fiance, looked over and saw this lady in the background. I said, "Oh, that's Mrs. Stewart. That's Nancy." And she said, "There's no way. She looks like she should be Earl's daughter."
That's what everybody says. It really makes me feel good. Thank you.
Oh, I tell you,
I'm only kidding.
No, it's just, and we got to say hi to her. She was going over to get some water or something, and we chit-chat a little bit, and it was so remarkable. May I ask what you were filming that day?
That was a company, or not a company, it's a not-for-profit organization called More Perfect Union, and they are advocates for the oppressed. They're advocates for the minority groups, for the less educated, for seniors. We talk about it on the program all the time, and I think that's the reason they heard about us, is they are trying to educate and help people that can't take care of themselves. You take some people, and you hear some of them call the show from time to time, they go into a car dealership and they get taken advantage of. We had a woman call a little earlier, and she financed a car at 29% interest. That's the maximum legal rate in the state of Florida, probably, and she's in a situation where she can't pay the car out. The cost of the car is accruing at a greater rate than she can accomplish any equity. Therefore, she can't trade out of the car. So, a More Perfect Union would seek out people like that, educate them, help them kind of do what this show does, help people not make big mistakes when they buy cars.
Oh, good. Okay. Kind of like your vigilante program a little bit.
Yeah.
But one other thing, earlier on your show, you were talking about the repairs and the charges like that. And I spoke to you a week or two ago about my glove box on my 2012 Mercedes that I couldn't open. And lo and behold, to just replace that glove box in parts is $600 for Mercedes. And anyway, so I'm looking. I went and listened to what you guys mentioned. Oh my goodness, what a website! RockAuto.com. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that many car parts could exist. But one quick question though, I did find some of the parts on eBay on the glove box for significantly less.
Oh,
great.
How safe am I buying something from eBay? I haven't done that in years and years and years for a glove box.
I think they have. I haven't used eBay in a while. They have different programs. You can, when you buy on eBay, you can protect yourself. They have guarantees and certain programs. Be careful, because anybody, as you know, can use eBay, but the eBay itself can advise you on being protected against fraud.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, as always, it's a pleasure seeing you guys. It was so nice seeing both of you in the showroom.
Thank you, Frank. It was great seeing you, and it was a great of seeing your fiance, and I thank you both for stopping by. Okay, a More Perfect Union. I want to tell you, I can't say enough about Jenny and David. David was in the dealership interviewing, us, but it was certainly, I really commend Jenny and respect what they represent at More Perfect Union. We are going to go to Stu, and we're going to see what Rick has before we bring the dog in.
I kind of wanted to go to the anonymous feedback, because we had seen these. One, I think this is one that you saw that you wanted to answer, or I can answer this one. This is anonymous feedback. I'm speaking in the first person. There's absolutely no way, no how, absolutely not, that Toyota only makes $1,100 per car. I watch Shark Tank. Let me show you the math. Toyota Tundra. I'm not going to go through all the math. Even seen nope. During COVID, all our local dealers in Canyon made millions of dollars in renovations. I get it. You're in business to make money, but please don't insult us and say that Toyota only makes $1,100 per vehicle. Now, if you're talking about Toyota corporation, and that is the right around their reported net earnings per vehicle. And I think you're confusing, or might not be aware, there's a difference between net profit and gross profit. When Toyota has a 15-16% profit margin, so if they sell a $40,000 vehicle,
no, they don't. It's not that big. The largest profit margin is Tesla at about 20%, and the other
I just looked it
manufacturers.
up. It was like 15 or 14 point something percent.
Not for Toyota, no.
Well, it was, yeah. But I'm saying their net profit is down around $1,100 per car. Tesla's net profit is 8 times that much. Tesla's
this is an inside thing, but each model, the trucks, they make more on the trucks than the cars, and this, that, and the other. But the average margin for Toyota, and this is not something they talk about, but the average profit for Toyota and all the manufacturers is less than 5%. So the fact that Tesla can make 20% is a huge.
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different things.
Maybe.
I'm talking the gross profit margin versus the net profit. The gross profit is 16% for March for the first quarter for Toyota this year for the gross profit.
For all for the whole company.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's parts.
That's what I'm saying. So the anonymous feedback is looking at that $1,100 bottom line. After they pay all the bills, they have a net $1,100 per car. Is the net amount according to the data right now?
Okay, let's move along.
Okay, so anyway, to the texter, the anonymous feedbacker, that's an accurate number, and the most profitable one is Tesla, and like they said, is 8 times more than Toyota's. The other anonymous feedback we got has to do with insurance. And he says, you say Carfax gets their information from State Farm. I just got off the phone after an hour with their headquarters and was told, after going to several departments, including the underwriter department, I spoke with a claims representative that stated insurance companies are under heavy scrutiny and they can't give out information. It's the auto repairs. And I called an auto repair company. Well, let me just get down to it. You can go to Carfax, and Carfax will lay out exactly where they get their information. One of them is insurance companies, and they find out from insurance companies if cars have been totaled, things like that. They're not going to tell you about every little claim that you have. They get the accident reports from the police departments, but there's a whole list of sources, and Carfax spells out exactly. As a matter of fact, you don't even just Google where does Carfax get their information, and Carfax is a page, and it explains that to you. And then, let's see, we're going to go back over to the text, unless the phones are going. And we have from Tom in Chicago. He says, hi, Earl. If I get pre-approved from my credit union at some rate, let's say 6% or whatever a competitive rate is these days, will dealer finance office always want a chance to beat your credit union rate? And if they can't, you just go with your credit union financing?
Well, they can't, so just save your breath.
If they can, they will. They're not going to just let you. They're not going to have a better rate hidden away from you and not give it to you.
The only way they would have a better rate is if it was a manufacturer subsidized rate, and 6%. You're not going to find any manufacturer subsidized rates better than 6% today. So
we got some.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
What do we have?
We have I think 4.9 or 5.9 on some cars just came out this month. So,
I didn't know that.
So that's good. Only on a couple of cars. It's not like across the board, but it's a twinkling of a brighter future for consumers, possibly.
Good.
So if they can beat the rate, if like Earl said, if they have a subvented or incentivized rate, they will. They're not going to bluff you and have it. They want you to finance with them. They don't want you to bring in a draft from the credit union, because when you finance with them, then all the products that they want to sell you, it's easier when you say it's $14 a month versus $1,800. Is our dog getting close here? Okay, I think we are. It's dog time.
Yeah, we have Roy who's coming in. Peggy's bringing Roy in. She is one of the greatest volunteers for Big Dog Ranch. And Roy came in from the Miami-Dade Animal Services. And, Roy was in some tough, rough shape. And through Big Dog Ranch's medical team, Roy can't be doing any better. He's just a lovable Maltese mix. He weighs about 14 pounds, and he is just gorgeous. And There he is. Take a look at Roy. Is he a beautiful dog? Oh, hi, Roy. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. Thank you so much for bringing Roy in. And Roy is our adopted dog of the week. And we hope that you will fall in love with Roy like we have. And you'll go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org and adopt this beautiful little dog.
Hi, Peggy. How are you doing?
And Stu will tell you all about the
Roy is here.
adoption fees that we pay.
You know, we had a friend back in college, and his name was Roy. And whenever he came over, we'd go, Roy here. Roy here. Yeah, Roy is a Maltese, and he's a special dog. He's going to require somebody to open their eyes and open their heart and look. Right. Roy has his lower jaw, his head removed. Was it for...
Unfortunately, in rescue, we never know for sure
Okay.
what their back history is.
Right. He came in like this.
He came in with a broken jaw.
Okay.
It appears to be trauma, but hopefully we just don't know. But it all signs point to that. So his jaw was flapping, just like hanging.
Right.
So the veterinarian, one of our awesome vets, decided he would be better off without the jaw.
Okay.
So it's been removed.
Yeah, so he's silly looking.
He's got the cutest tongue, though.
He's got a silly face.
He's just the sweetest boy. It doesn't bother him at all.
That's what amazes me about dogs is they can handle their handicaps and their injuries. It's just they shake them off and they just live their lives. He's a happy doggy.
He is so happy. He's snuggly. He loves to play and run. He's great on the leash. He just needs somebody to give him a chance because he's a wonderful boy.
There's nothing wrong with this boy.
You hold him like a baby.
Yeah.
And just cuddle on him.
We've seen this week after week. They're bringing over some really special dogs over here, and every single one of them is as happy as any dog that you're ever going to play with. I mean, we had Wheelie, and then Marshall from last week, the Great Dane, had a big limp, and and Roy here. Roy here.
I mean, we try to choose to bring here
the ones that are a little
bit
tougher.
harder to place because the cute fluffies get adopted in a minute.
Right.
Yeah. And this is a great platform
And he can eat,
showcase some of our little bit.
he can eat and drink fine, right? I mean,
yes.
Yeah, he just laps up the water.
The only
food.
thing that a potential adopter would need to do is purify his food. It's almost like a soup consistency. I've watched him eat.
Like puree it.
Yeah.
Like blend it.
Like
a baby.
Yeah.
And he just laps it up. It takes him a little bit of time, but he gets it done.
And for anybody out there listening or watching or like saying, was that a mess? My question to you is, have you ever owned a dog? All dogs are messy.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. When they lap up food, it goes all over the place in water. So, wow, he's just sitting there smiling all the time.
This speaks highly for Big Dog Ranch. If you're not familiar with them, they do not euthanize. They do not put their dogs to sleep. One of the reasons we have so many dogs and we have difficulty sometimes with space is because we take dogs from all over. And most shelters, unfortunately, will euthanize their dogs after a period of time. So they bring somebody in like Roy, and we will keep Roy until we find a loving home. And somewhere out there, there is a person that will take care of Roy.
Yeah.
And we definitely can't say enough about Peggy. Yeah. I mean, did you hear what she just said?
They let me
Roy?
and they let me choose the dog. Yeah. So I try to pick the ones that
someone
need
with a lot of compassion,
so
empathy, and she loves what she does. That's for sure. Thank you so
Microphone.
much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
And so, also as our sponsored dog, we pay the adoption fees, and it costs. No matter where you adopt a dog, it costs. There's a cost, and we want to make it really easy for Roy here. So that Roy is free, and if you're watching this or listening to this, and you know somebody who's that special kind of person who's not looking for just a fluffy status symbol, but a dog that you can love and who needs love. Share the post, share this video, and get in. Just contact us. Yeah. Call the show or go to bigdogranchrescue.org, BDRR.org.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what Roy likes?
Microphone. You need a microphone.
What Roy likes, and Peggy, as Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. Guess why? When you go to Earl on Cars, or Earl Earl's book, I think it is, right, Stu?
Earl'sBook.com, or just go to Amazon.com and search for Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer.
The most important part about this is all of the fees that you are going to have to pay for this book. It goes to Big Dog Ranch. $19.99, Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, and I can't think of a better place for it to go. And all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. Oh, Roy is such a tiny little thing.
Yeah, he needs to put on a few pounds.
All right, thanks, Peggy. Thanks so much again. I love Roy.
Thank you, honey.
He has this. He's got the silliest. It's a silly face. I'm not making fun of him. It's a flop dog. You know what a flop dog is? A flop dog is a dog when you pick him up, he just flops into your arms. Whether he's upside down, right side up, he just wants to be held.
He's a flopper.
Like a baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rick, you still got him on camera?
Just goes with the flow. Very photogenic.
Oh, and he's got a milky eye too. Look at that. I mean, you look like an alien.
Yeah, spread the word out there, folks. If you don't know anybody, just talk to your friends. Someone, a special person, is going to adopt Roy, okay? And so spread the word. This is really, really important that we find a home for Roy.
I love his tongue. His tongue hangs straight down, and it's like a little pendulum. It's very cute.
What a gutsy little dog, right?
He is. I'm so impressed with how the dogs, they don't seem phased at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a human, he would be overcome with, self-consciousness, wouldn't want to go out of the house.
We all got aches and pains. We know people that can't stop complaining. My wrist hurts, my foot hurts, my head hurts.
Stop there.
You take a dog like Roy without a lower jaw, he's not complaining about anything. He's happy.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we're used to seeing dogs walking around with their tongues hanging out. I mean, let's face it, dogs sometimes walk around kind of looking like idiots.
They look cuter that way.
Right, so he doesn't really look like any different than any other dog with his tongue hanging out.
Like kids. And like Stu said earlier, you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org and you can take a look at Roy and so many other dogs. Rick?
Roy looks like he'd be a great dog for a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's so lovable.
Yeah.
Flops right in your
He's
arms.
a flop dog, yeah.
And
very docile.
Prepping food, just mixing it with water into a soup, is not a very hard thing. Anybody can handle that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he would make a great dog for a lonely senior, because obviously with his condition, he's very quiet, and a lot of seniors need a quiet dog like that.
Yeah.
So he might be the
I should
absolute
have asked that
perfect
question.
choice.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
You
How
pointed
does a
out a
dog
lot of
without a
good-
dog bark?
As Peggy actually mentioned, he cannot.
He can't bark.
He cannot. He is silent.
Wow, that's
So-
important.
Those are really a lot of good
Now I'm
points,
thinking
Rick.
twice about adopting him now.
Yeah.
My dogs won't stop barking. I need a quieter dog.
See, you hear that, folks out there? Roy doesn't bark.
Very wonderful choice there.
He just wants to be loved and give you love. So you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org, and the adoption fees are definitely paid for.
Yeah.
You know, in this climate we're living in, inflation and everything that's going on, that's a huge help right there. We're going to get to the mystery shopping report, and our mystery shopping report comes to us from Pompano Beach, Florida. Our agent Lightning shopped at Champion Porsche. This is an interesting mystery shopping report, and you can vote at 772-497-6530. That's our text number, and we'll take your vote on Champion Porsche. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
I think we had a couple of people that asked that we shop a luxury car dealer.
Requested this specific dealer.
Specific, yeah.
And it's our first Porsche dealership
Yeah,
in 20
that's
years
right.
we've
That's
ever
right.
mystery
20.
shopped. Yeah.
We've never shopped a Porsche dealer.
Not a Porsche dealer. We didn't think it had a broad enough audience.
Is it pronounced Porsche or Porsche?
If you're pretentious, it's Porsche.
Oh, I'm not
I'm
pretentious.
sorry if I offended
Porsche.
anybody.
Okay.
But you know, it's really interesting. Years ago when we started, and we didn't mystery shop because you didn't see very many Porsches, they really exploded on, I mean, obviously their market share nationally is very, very small, but they have two very popular SUVs that I see all over the place, the Macan and the Macau. And they're all over Palm Beach County. I don't know if they are.
The
broad-
Panamera, too.
Good-looking
And
cars.
the Panamera, yeah.
Beautiful cars. Okay, I'll speak as if I were Agent Lightning in the first person. I arrived promptly at 6 p.m. and was greeted by a salesman named James, as well as a female sales manager who didn't disclose her name. They both seemed surprised by my presence as they closed at 6 p.m. That's interesting because most car dealerships are open longer hours than that. Luckily, I had their website open and was already eyeing a few cars. I showed them one particular car that had caught my attention, situated right in front of the showroom. It was a new 2023 Porsche is that pronounced Taycan?
Yeah, or it might be Taycan.
Taycan.
I've gone back and forth. Let's say
it's
Taycan.
spelled Taycan, and it's an electric vehicle. Porsche Taycan or Taycan EV. MSRP $113,110. And there was no addendum.
That's good.
James, the salesman, was quite cordial, but he informed me that they closed at 6 p.m. and he didn't have any access to car keys since his manager had already left for the day. And again, I'm really surprised. I guess maybe luxury car dealers close earlier than
I guess. I was thinking about that. He made a comment about it being a nice time to close later on. I mean, the purpose of a car dealer staying late is to get every last deal, and maybe that's not their style,
I expressed my disappointment, noting I was keen to purchase a car with a settlement I'd recently received. He asked if it was an insurance settlement. I wasn't sure why that mattered, but I confirmed that it was. I explained that I wanted to know if the pricing would work for me without having to drive back and down the next day. After a moment of hesitation, James suggested that he could provide some preliminary numbers and I could return later to finalize the purchase. He mentioned that he wouldn't be in on Thursday, but would be available over the weekend. Just a little aside here, because we got a couple of minutes. This is one of my pet peeves. I don't like it when I go to a restaurant or any sort of a retail establishment, and they're close to closing. I went to a restaurant one time, and it was 15 minutes before they were closing, and they said all they had were appetizers because the chef was cleaning up the kitchen. I said, well, if you're, it was a German restaurant in Tequesta. They're no longer there. But, I mean...
there you go, right there.
If a retail store says they're open till X p.m. or a.m. or whatever it is, they should be able to accommodate the customers fully that come in 5 minutes before they close as if they came at 2 hours before they close. So that means that people are going home early, locking up, so they can have more time off, and they're disregarding their customers. That's just my little editorial. I had to throw that in there. He then asked for my name and asked if I required a new tag. That's because of the cost factor, new tag versus a transfer. When I confirmed, he questioned whether I was sure about using that much cash rather than opting for financing. So again, even luxury car dealers are going to go for the finance opportunity. Financing cars is very profitable, and oftentimes car dealers make more money financing the cars than they do selling the car. I indicated that I might consider financing if there were enticing offers, to which he replied that their rates were around 6.99%. Not bad in today's climate. He then printed a worksheet from his computer showing my total out-the-door price of $121,614.54. The top line selling price was MSRP $113,110. They added an $899 dock fee, and of course we know what that is. That's a junk fee. $500 for a tag, which probably is legitimate, and sales tax, which would have been considerable because that's 6% in Florida. That was it. When asked if there was a possibility for a lower price given that I'd be paying cash, he suggested that his manager could likely do something for you, but he didn't specify what. Now, he was just being polite because, as regular listeners to this show know, a car dealer can make a lot of money financing a car, typically at least as much as they do when they sell the car. And they want you to finance, and they're not going to give you a discount for cash.
A lot of people say that thinking it's going to get that doesn't help you. You might want to go there and lie.
Saying you're a cash buyer actually hurts you because it removes the opportunity to the salesperson to get you into the finance department where additional profit for the dealership can be made.
If you're like Marty and you like playing games, go to the dealership, go there and say, hey, listen, I just want a good payment. That's all I care about. And then sit there. No, they'll give you they'll sell it to you a blue invoice, and then change to a cash deal when you get it.
If you don't mind being around for a long time arguing.
Marty enjoys that. It's a Saturday for Marty.
I asked him to show me what my monthly payment would be if I made a down payment of $30,000 and financed the rest. James printed another worksheet that showed my monthly mortgage or car payment of $1,566.99. That's a big payment.
That's more.
I think the average payment day is around $750. So
yeah, that's bigger than the mortgage on my first home.
Yeah. I thank James for taking the time to assist me and express my surprise at their early closing time. He felt it was a civilized time to close up shop. I like that, civilized.
Sounds like he turned into.
You can tell you're an electric car dealer. We're very civilized here. Would you like a cup of tea?
Was he British?
A crumpet, perhaps?
That's what I'm picturing.
We closed promptly at 6 o'clock.
James adjusted his bow tie and bid me farewell.
Anyway, that's the story, and that's the Porsche, Champion Porsche in Pompano Beach, Florida. That's right next to Fort Lauderdale. We've never shopped a Porsche dealer, so whatever we do for this Porsche dealer, grade-wise, A through F, will be either the only Porsche dealer recommended, or there will be no Porsche dealers recommended if you give them an F, which I don't think that will happen, but you're the voters. So give us a call, or don't give us a call. Text us at 772-497-6530. We grade on the curve, and that means that we don't look for perfection. If this Porsche dealer is just average, then give them a C, meaning average among Porsche dealers. If they're really good, give them an A, and if they're really bad, give them an F. But it isn't a question of, there's some things, the dock fee, junk fee. They did charge a junk fee, so you gig them on that, but then you say, what do all the other dealers do? And then it doesn't sound so bad. So
okay,
here we go with the votes.
Jonathan in Delray. No car keys available to a prospective buyer. They're not in any hurry to sell cars. Closing the doors promptly at 6 takes precedence over a sale. Bad business. They don't want my money, and I'm not in a rush to give it to them. I won't work with such a dealership, especially one that sells rolling status symbols. Automatic F from me. And that's
interesting.
Very well written, and I get your point. I was, do I have another grade here from somebody? Let's see here. No, that's the only one I have so far. Yeah, it was like a bunch of little things, and most of them were like annoyances. I wasn't surprised that they didn't have an addendum, because that seems like a schlocky thing to do. They're not going to have nitro fill on a Porsche dealership. But I thought they'd have a bigger dock fee. I don't know. It's a Southern South Florida dealer.
What is that? It's like GM Lexus. They have they advertise no dealer fees.
It's like $129
and
or $299.
I think it's like $199.
It's around $200. Yeah, it's like.
So you're paying $100,000 for a Lexus or a Porsche.
It's almost.
Why hit him for $200 or $300? I don't get it.
Well, maybe it goes to his his stepson's. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's all sorts of things people do. I expect more from a luxury dealer. He's got to go. He's going a C- for me.
I think we had a mystery shopper a long time ago, or maybe I just dreamed this because I thought it was funny. A mystery shopping where we went in and the salesperson told the shopper that I forget the amount, but say the $699 dealer fee was for the dealer's retirement fund.
Right.
Mr. Smith, who owns
That's right.
dealership,
Somebody actually did say that.
We have to.
Well, that's always a joke. I think when you had a dealer fee, it was referred to as your retirement fund. We got a grade from Mark. Hey, wait, Mark's right on my wavelength. He says they don't want to miss happy hour. that's got to get at 6
That's what it is. Yeah.
Good point.
C-.
Martini time.
Not to. I know this. I don't want to set you off, but. Closing time problems are irritating, but so are opening time problems. If you get to a place right before they open and you see them in there, and they could open the door, but they don't. Not until the moment it's time to open.
Yeah.
They don't do that at car dealerships. I don't think so. I think car dealerships, you're starting your day, you see the first, they call them ups, the first up on the lot. You want that guy. But in a mall will sit there and stare at you through the door until 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. What's your grades over there?
I've got Joseph Kelleher says D because of the dock fee. We've got Tom Steckel says, I'd give him a B plus. Straightforward and minimal junk fees. However, at that price, I'll stay on my screened porch. I love my YouTubers. Tim Gilliland, straightforward, but the dock fee knocks the grade down for me. B. Brian Sidlatko, if you can afford a Porsche, more power to you. A. Johnny Z. Fradley, C. Not too bad. At least they aren't taking their customers to the cleaners.
You have some comedians over there.
I love my YouTubers. For me, again,
they're the greatest.
I think I'm going to go agree with the B grade on it, just because that silly little dock fee. Why have that on a $120,000 car? It's at that point just include it and be done with it, and there's the price. Boom. Yeah, but it is a luxury car, and like they say, Porsche is a status symbol still. So B for me.
Yeah, just as a general observation on luxury cars, I read this the other day. I think it was Automotive News. Ferrari, and I wish I could remember the numbers. Ferrari makes more net profit than Ford or General Motors or a lot of the really large manufacturers. Now, Ferrari, they only sell, and again, I'm sorry I don't have the numbers here.
10,000.
They sell in the hundreds of cars a year.
Oh, okay. I was way high.
Yeah, I mean, very, very, very small. And they make a huge profit per car.
That's because they have one guy, Giuseppe Ferrari, making them.
Yeah, and I think they make like hundreds of thousands of dollars per car, and they have one car that is. I'm sorry for the general numbers. I'll have to find the article and make it right. But they have one car that sells for I think $20 million.
What's the cost?
And it has no roof and something. Oh, no windshield.
There's no windshield.
They only build like 8 of them.
And you have to wear goggles.
And you have to wear goggles. And so these filthy rich people, they buy one, they put it in their garage, and they say, "You want to see my Ferrari?" I mean, and that is the kind of thing that is interesting to me about luxury car dealers. The people that are the luxury car dealers are just getting fat and happy now because, as you know, that the wealthy people are wealthier than they've ever been, and they're buying more Ferraris and Porsches and Maseratis and the rest of them than anything else. Rick?
I watched a video on that just last night where they were talking about Dubai with all the money that they have there.
Oh, yeah.
The whole idea of owning a supercar there is to have the only one in the country of that car.
Yeah.
And there's one particular model of Ferrari called the Enzo Ferrari.
That might be the one I'm thinking of.
This might be the Monza.
There literally were only 3 ever made.
Oh.
And so one of these cars, though, is there in Dubai, and because the person couldn't afford the payments on it, they basically hopped on an airplane and flew out, because in Dubai, if you don't make your car payments, they will put you in jail, put you in prison.
And cut your hands off.
And they just abandoned this car in a parking lot at the airport. And it's one of these that is just sitting there covered in sand and dirt and dust. And it's one of only 3 of these Ferraris ever made. And there it sits abandoned.
Yeah.
The laws are different in Dubai.
Oh, big time.
Wow.
Whole different world.
I just looked this thing up. Where's the camera? I'll send it to you, Jonathan. That's the one you're talking about?
How much is it?
I didn't go to the price, but it doesn't have a windshield or a roof. It's called the Monza. They're a type of car called a Barchetta. One seats 2.
One seat, no roof and no windshield.
Wow.
I can't see I'm looking for a price. You want to see the picture?
Anyway, I'm going to give Porsche. I'm going to give Champion Porsche a C.
Show the audience.
Yeah.
That is something to take a look at.
Yeah.
There you go. What do you think?
Oops.
Yeah. We'll try later.
I'm going to give them a C because we don't have any other Porsches on there, and we don't know what the other Porsche. We'll have to shop another Porsche dealer to get an idea, but a C. I mean, if you're a multimillionaire and you want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a car, buy one from Champion Porsche. They're okay.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been a complete disaster.
Yeah. And if you got that much money, why should you care about a $699 dock fee?
$8.99. Okay, folks. Here's my vote. My vote is a D minus, and I want to be treated differently if I'm going to be purchasing a luxury car, a whole lot differently. Everything here, I didn't feel the love. I didn't feel anything, as a matter of fact.
You feel a little rushed. You felt a little rushed. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I felt very rushed. And this Taycan, I didn't feel the soul, the spirit of the young horse, just jogging along. You
got to challenge that take into a race in your Model S Plaid.
There you go. And it's also the Cayenne. I mean, they come up with all these great names, Hot Pepper,
Spicy.
and this light-spirited horse. I just didn't feel, comfortable with this mystery shopping report because it was a luxury dealership. So for Champion Porsche, again, I give you a D minus, $8.99 for a fee. Come on, please. Okay, Mr. Car Dealer.
We have time, and if we have any text out there, I had a couple interesting things that I saw in automotive news. You've heard us talk about electric vehicles a lot on this show, and the country is evenly divided almost, I think. Either you hate the idea of EVs or you love the idea of EVs. Also, autonomous, the same sort of a thing. It's amazing to think that Toyota really missed the ball. And as you know, we have a Toyota dealership, and we're obviously interested in Toyota. But electric vehicles for Toyota, suddenly they switched and said, okay, now we're going to build EVs. Toyota says by 2026, they'll have an EV they're selling that will have a battery range of over 900 miles. So that's how fast they're trying to get back in the race again. Right. They almost missed the race, and now they're back in.
Yeah, they got to make a big entrance.
Yeah, I think Koji's going to do a real good job as CEO.
Koji, good. I can never remember his name. Thank you.
Koji.
I remember that. Hey, you got time for anonymous feedback?
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting chastised here. I just saw your mystery shop of Prince Chevrolet of Tipton, Georgia. $1,700 in added fees, and you're giving them all high marks? Come on, guys. I just lost my spot. It's that spam. Have you noticed that we're getting spam on the?
Yes.
Spam just came. There we go. Come on, guys. You're all slipping. Everyone does it. Doesn't make it okay. I say this every time I comment on your videos. I will not buy from anyone who adds dishonest fees to a vehicle. My last two I bought from you, EST, and will continue to do that as long as I live here in Florida. You got to get tough on these dealers with dishonest fees and maybe give them a decent grade on out-the-door price and low grade on honesty. I mean, we've talked about splitting up the grades or like having categories, and it makes sense. One grade, looking at a grade, you don't know what it's for. There could be...
And our advice on buying is to find out about the junk fees ahead of time, and then let them know that about the junk fees. Now you can say, listen, you've got $1,500 in junk fees. I want you to give me the out-the-door price and include whatever junk fees you want to. I got to have the out-the-door price, and then I will buy from the dealer that gives me the low. You can. Why should you care if a bunch of junk fees are being charged if you have those in the quoted out-the-door price so you can shop and compare? If you want to buy a car, you're going to have to buy it somewhere. And if all the dealers are going to have some junk fees, just take it from the dealer that gives you the lowest out-the-door price. instead of getting into this moral, ethical argument about junk fees, look at out the door price, bottom line.
Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely true.
I agree with Anonymous. I'm looked at as whatever you labeled me. But come on, just because one dealer does it and so many other dealers do it, we have to be, complacent.
Yeah, there's an argument for us to be
I
more
don't think so. I really don't think so. And I'm not being hard on these dealers, But come on, guys, let's give us a break. $8.99 for Champion, for this last mystery shop that we just did. This is a luxury car dealership. The way you're treated is a whole lot different. I don't care if anyone says, "Hey, you can afford to go into the Porsche dealership." Who cares how you were
We're
treated?
almost out of time.
Who cares whether you paid
So I'm
$8.99?
going to have the last word here. The last word is this show is a show on how to buy a car without being ripped off. How to buy a car. If you have to buy a car and all the dealers that sell that car have dealer fees and you have a moral, ethical argument about dealer fees, you won't be able to buy a car. So we're saying, given the evil, we don't like it, we don't condone it, but we're going to find the dealer that gives you the lowest price, whether it includes junk fees or not. We're an advice on where to buy cars, not a moral ethical argument show.
I understand completely what you're saying, and you did write a column, that we do, we have to vote on the curve. Otherwise, like you said, there won't be anywhere to purchase a vehicle. So buyer beware. Knowledge is power. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. We had a great time. Don't forget, you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org and take a look at Roy. He is definitely worth looking at. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you right back here next Saturday morning at 8 a.m.